everyone, and welcome into Fair Game. I'm Arielle Orsuto. These are stories devoted to giving voices to the voiceless and all underrepresented groups in sports. Fair Game is about inclusion, education, and inspiration. Where better to start than a brand new sport for high school girls gaining steam, flag football.
There's a storm brewing in high school football.
I think that everyone deserves to play this game.
And it's shining a spectrum of light over brand new talent.
You can't put no tag on anybody. You can, if you believe that you can do it, you can do it.
The Broncos believe it, so does KUSA. That's why they teamed up to bring a 3-year pilot program of girls high school flag football to reality.
I never thought that I'd be able to play football in general, not even flag football, and the fact that I get to is really cool for me.
Almost overnight, teams grew to unimaginable sizes from the outpouring of enthusiasm for the sport.
It's just so cool, like, to see what football has become for the girls' side of it. And honestly, 80 people, that's insane.
But boys varsity head coach Chris Roschel isn't surprised.
I feel energy at our practices, but it's a different type of energy at these ones. These girls are really excited just to play football.
Excuse me? So is his wife, or should I say head coach Alexis Roschel, who had strong words to describe her girls.
Power, competitiveness, to the extent, I know some of the boys are texting some of my girls and they are going over stats. Who had more interceptions, who had more receiving yards.
In the wake of Title IX's half-century celebration, it's the equity that these athletes are truly embracing.
I feel such gratitude for it. It's really exciting to finally see young women getting empowered and this carrying over. And I really hope that the younger generation also recognize that they can indeed cause change.
It's the same message that resonated with Broncos players when they heard their organization was sponsoring this new league.
It'd be dope to see hopefully a girl make it to the NFL one day. That's what I'm waiting on. I think that'll be dope.
No matter who you are, what you do, or where you come from, or what gender you are, you can never set requirements on what you can do.
1, 2, 3, Tigers! The Chatfield girls won the inaugural championship this fall, and the Broncos found it so successful, they may try to speed up the 3-year pilot program. Our next trailblazer is blazing almost too many miles to count. Kimberly Bradley had one goal: run a marathon in all 50 states before she turned 50.
I just wanted to say I run a marathon. I'm about to run a marathon in my 50th state, my 54th marathon in my 50th state. And I realized that I was turning 50 and I was getting closer to my goal of running my 50 states. It kind of became 50 by 50. I never ran. I just started and I didn't stop.
It led Kimberly Bradley to some milestone moments.
I loved New York. I loved finishing in Central Park. I ran Boston the year after the bombing, before the bombing and after the bombing, and the year after the bombing was something I will never forget. Running my last 49th in Maryland was very emotional, realizing that was kind of it before I go to Hawaii.
Bradley couldn't do 50 by 50 alone.
They're always attached to my shirt right next to my heart.
Her favorite marathons were mostly marked by the ones waiting at the finish line.
The ones where my mom is with me, when my kids are with me.
Her mom, Susan Kane, stood by her side through 34 races. Bradley says her support means everything.
She's there in the freezing cold. She's there in the hot. She is there at 4 o'clock in the morning to get me to the start line. She is my biggest advocate, my biggest cheerleader.
The greatest job that I've had in my life is being a mother, and it comes really naturally for me to want to be there to support her, want to be there to encourage her. It warms my heart.
Everything's colored in except Hawaii.
When she fills in the final box in Maui, the decade-long mission will be complete. But Bradley will be thinking about what the entire journey taught her along the way.
I can't believe I did that. It overwhelms me to think I ran all those miles, because I don't think of myself as a runner. I'm just a mom here in Highlands Ranch. I would have never believed for a minute that I could do this, but I think it just shows the power of determination.
Bradley finished her 50th marathon in Hawaii with all of her friends, families, and coworkers on her 50th birthday.
Coming up, the CSU football team is powered by one strong female. Plus, the inspiring story of a wheelchair-bound athlete fighting for his return. That's next.
Welcome back. When new Rams football coach Jay Norvell came to Colorado State, he brought most of his Nevada staff along with him, and that included a groundbreaking strength and conditioning coach.
All right, give me one, here we go. I just want to do my job. I just want to develop athletes. So it's never usually in the forefront of my mind, but when I take a step back to think about it, it's honestly profound. That was your best one.
Hope Nepstead is in her first year as the assistant strength and conditioning coach with Colorado State football. When she was hired into the same job at Nevada last year, she became the first woman in that position dedicated solely to football at the Division I level.
Straight through. Drive. Perfect. First and foremost, respect is definitely earned. It's not given. And I think at this point, I would say I've earned that respect from a lot of them. They definitely know that I know what I'm doing. Core. And when I was brought on staff, there was a standard set. Like, this is your coach, you're gonna respect her, you're not gonna mess with her, and that's the way it is. So I know they have my back, the coaching staff upstairs has my back, and my players have my back.
Having the support of men, she said, is one of the most important steps in reaching full equality in both sports and leadership.
I've been blessed to work with some of the most incredible men on the face of this earth. We work together, we uplift each other, we're encouraging. It's just a very positive work environment. And if we can do that on a larger scale, the impact that that would have is incredible. I like it. That's awesome. I didn't just get here on my own. It was paved with a lot of other people's hard work and belief in myself. Everybody's just got to work hard, and we can get rid of the labels and benefit the athletes and get them to where they need to be. Because at the end of the day, it's about them.
Last fall, a Smoky Hill student athlete suffered a spinal injury in a car accident, leaving him wheelchair-bound. Noble Haskell is now finding his way back to the athlete and the person he was before.
Not everyone is granted a predestined title at birth.
Like, all right, Noble. So Noble it is, and he has grown into his name so much, even more so now. You know, it's kind of like that grit, right? Are you born with grit, or does it kind of come as you go through trials and tribulations?
Keep going, Noble. Keep going, bud. You got it. Do not stop. Do not stop.
Noble Haskell was used to the trials of a 5K cross-country course, but nothing prepared him or his mother Chrissy for the moment that would cause him to live up to his brave, self-sacrificing, and virtuous name.
It was tough, you know, getting up in the middle of the night and having somebody tell you that there's been a wreck and your son potentially has a broken neck.
Next thing I knew, I was in the ER. Didn't really know what was happening. And I was just thinking to myself, like, God is good, like, I'm alive.
We all just kind of had something in us that said, it's going to be all right. He's going to walk again. He's going to run again. And that's what's carried us through.
There we go. 4 months later, Noble is testing a new course, his first day on an adaptive bike, and a big milestone in his road to mobility.
You're not surprised because you know how hard he works, and he has that same mentality, that same drive as he put forth to his running. It's really exciting to be on the sidelines this close, having a front row seat, watching him and supporting him.
Also supporting him are all of his running peers, sending cards, signs, and most importantly, team t-shirts that he hopes to form into a quilt.
Know that all those other teams are still there, rooting me on and cheering for me from the sidelines. Even though I'm not on the course, I'm not running, that they're still on my side cheering me on.
You said that you think that there was a reason for this and that you
Right.
serve a better purpose. Do you think some of that purpose is to inspire people, to help people understand?
Definitely. Gotta have faith, keep believing, keep praying, and it's just going to get better. It's just going to keep getting better. Everyone serves a bigger purpose than where they are currently.
Nice. 1 year later, Noble is a senior at Smoky Hill, back participating with his friends at high school and training 3 days a week to return to his previous form.
Coming up, a Division I coach is living her most authentic life to be a role model for her athletes. Plus, a sprinter designs her own running gear. That's next on Fair Game.
Welcome back. She calls herself a triple threat, a black gay woman, and she proudly wears each of those labels as a role model and a head coach of the DU women's basketball team.
Nice, nice, good finish, good finish. Good finish. We're gonna get one, we're gonna get a 3 for 3. We're gonna get a 3 for 3.
You have such a positive attitude. Does that help in practice?
Yeah, it does. You know, I think that the last couple years I really have just embraced that I am a positive person. I know if I can spin it into positive, I will. Trust me, I will find a way to spin it. Even if it's air ball, I'll find a way to spin it.
Let's go middle! Let's go middle!
I feel like I like the collaboration with our players, and I'm always asking for their feedback. Again, they know it might get used, it might not, but I try to always put them in a place where they have a voice as well.
We still don't have very many black head coaches in women's basketball, even though reflectively on the court, you would think that, you know, it should reflect the bodies of the student athletes.
We all talk in our different circles just about there's not a lot of us and there's not a lot of opportunities, so we want to be successful for those behind us. So it's one that I take great pride in, but it's also one that I know that I've worked for and prepared for. I don't play the drill and tag outside the paint.
You weren't hired to fill any quotas, but you are a proud black woman. You're
Absolutely.
also a proud gay woman. And
Absolutely.
I think that is also something that is incredibly important in especially this sport. Do you agree?
Absolutely. This is really the first place that I feel like my full self has been accepted, right? I can show up and be black one day and have my hair out and like no one says anything. I can show up the next day and it doesn't have to be June for me to wear my pride shirt and everybody says hi and keep it moving. It's not. So all of those intersections are very important to me, but I think getting this role, getting this position, I realized how important visibility is.
You're really into poetry, right?
Oh gosh, yes. This was Jason Collins. I wrote that poem because when he came out, I was like, he was just standing there at the press conference by himself. And it's just hoping that it was going to resonate with someone else, hoping that was going to inspire someone else. And I don't think it's had in the NBA the type of effect that he wanted, but I think the acceptance obviously has gotten a lot better. So him being able to stand there and stand alone in that moment, that's how I was feeling.
Is there an added burden of being a black gay female?
I take responsibility in the sense of like, I don't want you to judge me based on every black female that you know or every gay person that you know, so I want to be able to show up as myself and you judge me as Dosha, and that's how I try to like move and operate. So it comes with the responsibility that it's not a burden, it's a responsibility.
Round 2, 1, 2.
Denver!
Oh, that's a new one.
The wild world of name, image, and likeness opened up opportunities for student athletes to grow their own businesses and make money off of their talents.
I started making clothes for myself at first. I started making clothes for my friends, and then they started liking it, other people started seeing it, and so now I sell them as my own business.
Thanks to the NCAA's newly passed name, image, and likeness rule, a side project can now be a full operation for CU sprinter Jada and her company Drame Apparel.
I can finally put my name on something and be like, this is mine, like I created this from the ground up.
3, 2, 1, go.
And as an athlete, she had the inside track to functional fitness wear.
Track led me to making clothes because some things just don't fit me the way that I'd want them to fit me.
And it also gave her insight into the top flight fabric.
It was a lot of trial and error because I would make stuff and then go to practice with just like dripping sweat. Like this is not working.
But eventually it did. Jada always goes back to the drawing board.
I figured out like the paneling.
And is motivated by seeing her creations come to life.
Like the actual part that really just like sparks me is when I like finish making something and then I put it on and I just like sit there in the mirror. I'm like, oh, this actually looks kind of cool.
A sincere moment of realization that led to a life-changing one for Drame.
I think this is something that I actually enjoy doing and I love creating stuff like this. And I would like it to be a career. Like I want to be a fashion designer.
12, 13,
now
14.
Being older and realizing I don't need to close every single door. I can have multiple doors open, and more doors have opened for me since starting my business that I didn't even think would be a possibility. And now here I am.
When Fair Game returns, we'll meet the Lavender Pickleball Club, the most inclusive sports club in Colorado, as well as a self-taught snowboarder who has a few tricks up his sleeve. That's next. Pickleball is the fastest growing sport in America. It's risen to the level where niche groups like the Lavender Pickleball Club can grow and prosper, a primarily women's LGBTQ club.
Lavender Pickleball Club is a group of women who are having a great time, really, through pickleball.
The most beautiful thing about this is that it is formed these incredible tribes. It's taken people who never would have met before and created families for them. It's amazing.
That's actually one of our mottos is more than pickleball friends, we're family. And it just seemed to be a huge yearning in our community, and particularly among women.
Creating community through competition, while ensuring that inclusivity is the paramount of priorities.
The rules and the equipment and the size of the court, they really blur the boundaries between gender, between age, and the technical demands of the sport are not as challenging as maybe for tennis or golf. So the learning curve is extremely fast. Now is also a good time to practice moving together with your partner.
The club's guest instructor for the day is Irina Terashenko, a top-rated pro pickleball player.
Having Irina Terashenko, who is a back-to-back national champion and a 5-time national champion, be interested in creating a clinic just for our club is, within the first year that we've been around, was a huge boon to the fact that we knew we had something here.
Here, once it gets lower, that's quite a twist for the low ball.
It proved a level of legitimacy, Susan said. But Terashenko also provided some levity to some of the most competitive women on the front range.
You know, to be honest, it's a lot of people say once they play pickleball, they say they're addicted to the sport, and it's one of the healthiest and best addictions that I've seen so far.
A healthy addiction, and perhaps the great unifier.
And I think that's what makes it so incredible and so powerful and so beautiful. And I think it's what makes a situation like Irina showing up here and putting this clinic on. It's because it is going to be bigger than all of us.
Skiing and snowboarding are two of Colorado's most popular sports, but not necessarily the most diverse. When Corey Hicks moved here from Florida, he didn't see anyone who really looked like him on the slopes, but that couldn't keep him away. You can take the skateboarder out of Florida, but most of them usually don't end up on the slopes in Colorado.
I wanted to snowboard since I was little, but I never got into it. I always just watched it on TV, and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever, sliding down a mountain on snow, because in Florida we got boxes and grass.
Corey Hicks migrated out west in January 2020, touching snow for the very first time in his 24 years.
Spent probably the first hour and a half, 2 hours falling. And then I eventually started teaching myself how to just ride with one foot comfortably, skating around. Did it 2 times and was...
And you were sold?
Sold. Like, yeah, I'm moving to Denver.
2 years later,
we're in our athletic stance, we're gonna drop ready.
The self-taught rider is now the teacher. Hicks became a certified snowboard instructor at Eldora Mountain.
Flatten it out and just ride it out. I do a lot of teaching. Like, my whole life is based around just teaching somebody. I have a lot of joy in seeing people smile after they get a score.
That's awesome.
I feel like there was a lot of things that when I was growing up, I was kind of just searching for. Now a lot of my pursuit of knowledge is so I can pass it on to my next generation.
Growing up, there probably weren't a lot of skateboarders or snowboarders or really anyone that looked like you. Do you feel like some kids might, like some younger kids might see you and think, yeah, I could do that too?
10 out of 10, 1000%. That's another reason, that's the main reason why I do it, to show kids younger than me that, hey, there's somebody out here that looks like me who is really ripping it and sending it. Yeah, somebody is a sender. Give it a try. If you have a desire to do something, all you have to do is put some action behind it and it's gonna happen.
With photojournalist Quentin Sycophus, Arielle Orsuto, 9 News.
That's all the time we have for this edition of Fair Game, but you can find all of these stories at 9news.com/fairgame, and you can submit your story by contacting me on any of my social media pages at Arielle Orsuto. Take care of yourselves.